Good morning, everybody. Thank you so very much for joining me. This is the sound of the city with Peter, and I'm coming to you from beautiful San Diego, California. As always, America's finest city. You may be wondering, well, what's he doing back? Now what? Well, I have to be honest with you. This is episode 10, and in episode 9, I briefly overviewed what a safety plan was. And I think the way I covered it was insufficient. I made a mistake. I didn't go into the depth that is necessary for us to have a proper safety plan. And I just want to explain to you what I have in my safety plan. It's more than just phone numbers. And that's what I went over last time. Of course, you're going to have your psychiatrist's number. You're going to have 911 written down. You're going to have the number to the suicide prevention hotline, which is 1-800-273-8255. Have all those numbers down on paper. Include your family, those people who you are most comfortable with, the people who you know that you have a rapport with, who you could speak with openly. It's very important. If you have a therapist, if you have a social worker, add those too. Now, this is a safety plan that is subject to be used at any time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's how important this is. So that's why I'm adding this additional information for you to consider. Make your house safe. You live in an apartment, make your apartment safe. I'm not here to get in a political battle with anybody. I believe in the Second Amendment. However, guns, they are not for me. I have found that out several times in my life. And thankfully, I'm still here. If you attempted suicide previously by gun, get that gun out of your house. If you are suicidal, it is not a good idea to have a gun in your house. If you have suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideation, let's get the big, dangerous things and get rid of them. And that starts with the gun. Now, do people have the right to have a gun even if they're suicidal? That is your right. But I don't know how smart it would be for somebody who is suicidal to have a firearm. That's just I guess that's my opinion. I don't know if it's an opinion versus an objective fact. Knives. This is different. Everybody has knives. Kitchen knives, utility knives. Keep them to a minimum. Don't have all these pocket knives hanging around, or collectible knives, or knives that are really sharp that you could easily injure yourself with. You never know when you're suicidal. And you get desperate and you start thinking of things to do to kill yourself. And a knife has been used frequently in the past. I have experience with that. Another thing to consider, and who am I to say? I am not recommending anybody go to Alcoholics Anonymous without first talking to their physician. Alcohol could be a dangerous thing to have in your home. If you're suicidal and have had suicidal attempts in the past, are prone to suicidal ideation, I don't know if it's a good idea for you to be drinking. Drinking impairs our judgment, of course. It lessens and loosens our inhibitions. It has many other side effects that are deleterious. And in consideration to suicide, we have to also remember that many of us are on a lot of medicines, myself, I'm on maybe 5 or 6 different medicines. They don't mix with alcohol. Alcohol could increase their action and potentiate the medicine. Alcohol, for some of them, could decrease their action. I don't know. I haven't tried. It's been almost 8 years since I've had a drink, and I don't want a pat on the back. I just don't want to drink. It's that simple. Other things you might want to consider is safe people. Be careful who you hang around with. Who are your friends? Are they into criminal activity? Are they into the drug game? Are they people you could trust? Are they people who, when you're around them, are they going to suck the energy out of the room and increase the severity of your psychiatric symptoms? Something to keep in mind. Once again, I'm not here to judge. At the same time, though, there is a distinction, excuse me, between judgment and being judgmental. We need to use proper judgment in all aspects of our life after we've had a suicide attempt or continue to live with suicidal thoughts and ideation. Very important. It could be the difference between misery and happiness. The suicide prevention plan is something to keep you on track. It's not necessarily just something you have for that 911 moment. It is a contract with yourself. It is a contract with your family. It's a way that you could possibly revolutionize your existence if you adhere to it. That's simple. I'm not trying to lecture to you. That's the last thing I want to do. I'm not going to read to you. I don't want to be read to. But I have found out through others that these things work. Give it a try. That's all I could ask you to do. That's the best I could do is just ask you to try. There is something really important that all of us are going through at this moment, and that's the holidays. And you know what? Just Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, those are some of the holidays. The holidays take place all year. We have Easter, Father's Day, Mother's Day. Father's Day and Mother's Day could be completely miserable for some people that are mentally ill and may not have contact with their family. Don't forget our birthdays. Don't forget other people's birthdays. Those are all holidays. And some of us struggle with them. And if you do struggle with them, please be mindful of it. Be honest with yourself and ask your psychiatrist what you could do. Things that you could address rather than just muddling through them in misery. A quick story, and I've told you this before. 2013 comes out for some reason significantly to me as an example of this. I went through the holidays in 2013 and I was hanging on for dear life. I was suicidal for 3 or 4 months. My fingernails were holding on to the couch. That's how bad I was. Christmas music. The sound of somebody talking about turkey. Somebody talking about trick or treat. All that stuff just made me miserable. I had been married previously. I had a family. And it had something to do with it. But it was deeper than that. It was a cumulative buildup of years of not liking the holidays. And 1 year just built up for me. So that's something to be aware of. Safety. Take care of yourself. Eat well. I am not in a position to give you medical advice, But I can say take your vitamins, or at least take your water-soluble vitamins. When it comes to vitamin A, D, K, and E, ask your doctor about it. I don't want to get in trouble. But eating right, watching your weight, exercise, reading, following your interests, staying away from boredom. Boredom is probably the worst thing we could go through. Because guess what? We get in our heads. And when I'm in my head and I'm alone, I'm in bad company. Well, that's enough for me. I hope I clarified this for you. It's very important for me. I didn't want that last video to stand on its own because I thought it was insufficient. You guys deserve better, and I'm here to help you. Honestly. So, once again, that number, 1-800-273-8255, that is the Suicide Prevention Hotline. Please know that number. Have it written down somewhere. You may need it someday. Or 911. Thank you so much for having me again. Until next time.